Holy night, all is calm.
It is that time of year. You know, one of the hard things, Kevin McCullough, AFR Talk, AFA Today, so glad to be with you. One of the things that was difficult before I left for Haiti, because, you know, I'm a heartless, cold-hearted, merciless, Republican meanie. I'm not actually a registered Republican, but this is how people. Oh well, you must be a conservative, so you must hate poor people. Yes, I'm probably Ray thinks that. Yeah, he won't have opposing guests on, and he hates poor people. They're going to put that on bumper stickers next week. Now, one of the things that made it very difficult to leave last Monday, because I was on the air with you Monday, I walked out of the studio, headed to the airport, was the fact that in the New York area, we were getting our first major winter storm system. We're going to have another one this weekend, probably 7 or 8 inches of snow. And the lovely bride has just made the house total Christmas. I mean, it's just become this haven of Christmas, and the boys are loving it. We got Grandpa's old Christmas train out, and that's set up, and we're having fun with that thing every night as we read Christmas stories before we go to bed. And I don't know, I was all warm and fuzzy and just nestling in and going, hey, this is going to be fun. And then I went to Haiti, and God messed me up for the last 3 days, just about as much as you could be. We came face to face in one of our villages with a woman who's pregnant with her third child. She lives in a house that is literally not something you would let your dog sleep in. And her husband beats her. The work that I'm doing with people down there, we're working through local pastors and some of those other ministries that we've partnered with in the past. But there are Christians that are in the communities of the folks that we're going to be working with next year. But it was just so, I don't know, around every corner there was another child, there was another story, there was another person that needed. And I got to thinking about how little we are grateful for in America, how little we are grateful for. I'm thinking of Pastor Saeed Abedini this Christmas, and his own fellow American, Ray from Virginia, wants to make him the cause of his own incarceration. Well, how do you know? How do you know that he's not there unfairly? Well, okay. When did that's pretty much the equivalent of asking someone when they stopped beating their wife. I mean, do you have proof that they stopped? Well, no, but did they ever actually? The abuse he suffered is pretty well documented. There have been doctors that have been allowed to see him. His legal case is a fraud, say the international lawyers who have worked on it in Iran, some of which have come from Europe, some of which have come from the States. All of them have looked at the Iranian law in question, and he has not violated any of that. This is a completely trumped up thing where they just snagged him off the street and took him away. He made a pledge not to proselytize. He had been keeping that pledge. He was constructing orphanages. But that's probably, not satisfactory to some as well. I don't know. John in Tennessee. Welcome, Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here. Merry Christmas. Line 1, John. Yeah, I got to punch him up here. John in Tennessee, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Merry Christmas to you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I want to pull two things out that Ray said that I totally and absolutely agree with.
Okay.
He first started with Merry Christmas to you and all of the AFR family, and I agree totally on that. And he said one other thing that I agree with, and that's that he listens to AFR every day. Well, I do too, so I agree with it. Everything else he said, I put in the trash can in the car. But I do have an issue that I'd like to discuss with you.
Okay.
When we talk about Pastor Abedina, what can we do, the rest of the 2 million listeners to AFR, what can we do to help the situation along? My complaint, if you would call it that, would be you don't give us a contact to write a letter to.
Let me do that. Let Let me give you that resource, John, because there are a number of things that you can do, and they've been housed in one website, and it is basically very simple, savesaeed.org. And I'll spell Saeed for you, but when you go, there's going to be a number of options at the bottom of the screen that you can click and connect and do something with. And so that's the number one place to go if you want to help with Pastor Saeed's case.
That's exactly what I want to do. And if one of the options is to write John Kerry or Mr. Obama, I think a couple of thousand letters from your listeners, if at a minimum, that's only 1% of that. Let's say they got 5,000 letters. At least that point would be taken that a lot of the people in the United States, all of us Christians, of course, care about what's happening there.
I agree with you. All right, John, let me give you that website again. It's Save Saeed. Here's how you spell Saeed. It's Saeed. So it's Save Saeed, SAEED.org. There's a petition that you can sign. There's a number of things that you can connect with at the bottom of the screen. Right now, there's 160,362 people that have signed the petition. The administration did not mention Pastor Saeed as they promised they would in their last negotiations with Iran. That's what his wife is sad about today. That's why she testified before Congress yesterday, because she felt like that we are demonstrating weakness in not speaking up for our own people. And again, they've lumped him in with a CIA and an FBI agent. You can at least make the argument, whether you agree with it or not, those guys might have been working against the best interest of Iran. Iran might feel like they have a national security need to detain those guys. I think other presidents have still been able to argue for the release of our CIA and FBI agents. I don't know why this administration couldn't do that as well, but you can't even make that argument against this pastor because all he was doing was building orphanages. 888-589-8840, and we have absolute proof, Ray, that he was building orphanages. We have proof of that. 888-589-8840. Let's go to George in Missouri. Hi, George. Welcome.
Hey.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, Kevin, and all you guys at AFR. Sounds like Mr. Ray woke up on the other side, wrong side of the bed.
We all have bad days. I can't blame him for that.
Hey, you know what? When he's thinking about waking up on the wrong side of the bed, think about taking care of somebody that's had Alzheimer's, my wife, for 11 years, or somebody with stage 4 cancer like my cousin. I said, think about them people, and really, do you having a bad day now? You know?
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that my wife is still alive because I get to spend Christmas with her this year.
Amen.
And her
Amen.
It's going to be in a little bit, and I'm happy, and I'm thankful to the Lord. And, when you got problems like that, and I'm thankful that you did what you did. I mean, wow, you adopted some kid from another country. Wow, that took a lot of, I take my hat off to you.
Well, it's what God wanted me to do.
I'm sure it is.
I'm not saying it's noble or anything. It's just what I needed to do to be obedient.
I think it's very noble. I think you doing that, I mean, because of you, I sponsored one of those little kids in that $92 thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you because I want to tell you. I'm just telling you that you made a difference in my life.
George, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for not caring if I have opposing guests on or not. Yeah, that's going to be a new punchline, isn't it? Well, how many opposing guests did we have on this month? Hey, Brent, how many guests have I had on in the last couple of weeks on this broadcast? None. Yeah, see, that's close to zero. None is close to zero. I know. Said had guests all the time. Asked if I ever had opposing ones, but I just don't have that many guests. Mostly because I want to know what you think. There's lots of shows. There's lots of options on your dial. I like to have a dialogue with you. That's where I have the fun, is when you and I can discuss things. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Marie in Oklahoma. Hi, Marie.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you for taking my call. And I
Sure thing.
Thank you very much for what you do. And I do trust your sources. and all the sources of AFR. And I do wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, lady.
And I just want, I'm a military spouse, and I do come from overseas, and I know how things are overseas. And I do thank our Heavenly Father for this country and for being able to hear the truth. And no matter what happens, I am an American citizen now, and I did learn the Constitution, and it was my understanding that our government's foremost job is to protect the citizens. And Pastor Saeed Aberdeen is an American citizen.
Yes, he is.
And we must pray, and we must not only pray, we must be active and call our congressmen, because if nothing is done, if in 6 months, according to Mr. Kerry, there's a 50-50 chance that this is not going to work or this is going to work, this is not the way to treat with an enemy. I'm a military spouse. 2 of my 3 sons are veterans, and you don't take a 50-50 chance with an enemy if you want to live. But what I believe is, if we don't do something now, if in 6 months the deal does not go through, then we will not get Pastor Saeed back.
Yeah, and I don't know that with this administration that there's even a desire to. I mean, it really has been odd. Thank you, Marie, for your call. It has been odd to see how reluctant they are to push the issue. And if I'm Iran, and I am judging you by your strength, I'm judging you by your fortitude, because these Middle Eastern and Persian countries, they don't sit there and go, oh, well, let's see how reasonable they are. Reasonableness is a non-existent virtue in the Middle East. They don't have people sitting there and coming to rational decisions about things. They understand strength, and they understand limits of power, and they understand what they can and can't do. And in the Iran, in the mullahs that are in control of Iran, they have pretty much been saying, we are stronger than all of you, and we will show you. And when we have the ability, we will make you feel it. Now, they've been saying that for 10 years. We don't seem to be listening. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Carol in Indiana. Hi, Carol. Welcome. Glad you're with us.
Hi. You're
Welcome.
talking to Carol from Indiana?
I am. Thank you for being here.
Okay, that was quick. I appreciate AFR. I've listened to you, I think, for a couple of years. I don't even know how I found you, just accidentally on the dial, I believe. And I really like all of the people on there and the things you do to help this country. And basically, I don't listen much at all to national news. People like Chris Matthews, I find really annoying, and I don't listen to that man because I just think he's ridiculous. So I thought it was a little strange that when your caller Ray called in that he said he listens every day. Why would he do that? I don't listen to people that are going to raise my blood pressure like I named Chris Matthews, and I just think it's interesting if he so disagrees with the positions, why does he listen to your show every day? I think that's odd.
Well, and I think I have a theory on that, Carol, and I've seen this over the years. Thank you for the call. And if you'll notice, and I'm just going to kind of deconstruct here a little bit. This is not intended to be offensive towards anybody. It's just what I've observed over the years. Okay, so this is what I've observed. Because of the way the conservative mind and the liberal mind work, they're kind of two different universes. And conservatives generally tend to be ordered around order, structure, economy of efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. There's this framework to conservative thinking that is very connected, very rational, very logical. Liberal thinking, by and large, is usually developed around feelings. It's usually there's a lot of discussion about what the intent of something is, or the tremendous need of something is, or how we just can't allow something to continue to be the way it is and the way it's been. That we must do something to change this. It's always a lot about the need, the urgency, the emotion. It's not often about the results. And there's problems with both sides. If you just run a universe on perceived need and feeling, then there's no accountability, and you're going to be bankrupt, and everything's going to be upside down pretty quickly without any question. If conservatives are known for making the trains run on time, the factories run on time, and everything is done on time, but there is never a human element introduced into who they are or how they think, then that can also become a very cold and calloused, highly productive, but very cold and calloused world. So in any universe, you got to have a combination of the two to not only be successful, but also to have a degree of humanitarian thought and feeling. At the end of the day, someone like Ray may be intrigued by the order, structure, flow, and rationale of what he finds with conservatives. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it could be. I've seen more liberals that listen to conservative radio than conservatives that listen to liberal radio, and I think it's largely for this reason. There is a framework and a sense-making structure in the way the conservative worldview is put together that completely is a fascination and a foreign idea to those that live in the liberal universe of, hey, we just gotta be the touchy-feely society. Anyway, I could be wrong about that too. And Ray, I hope you call back. I mean, I don't think you have to be hostile to have a good conversation, and I will welcome you. Disagreeable callers go to the front of the line, especially if I know that they want to disagree. Anyway, coming back Monday here on AFA Today on AFR Talk. I'm Kevin McCullough. Hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget online, afatoday.com. We'll see you.